They say that when betrayed, women tend to either weep tragically or fly into a rage. I, Claire, 22 years old, don't belong to either of those types. When I say I don't make a fuss or beg after being disrespected, I mean exactly that. Liam, my ex-boyfriend, probably still doesn't understand that to this day. He is the epitome of toxicity, manipulative, cruel with his words, and a master of gaslighting, making you doubt your own sanity. Most of the time we were together, he always tried to control and belittle my emotions. At that time, we were in a long-distance relationship. Liam had moved to another state for university, while I remained in our hometown. The geographical distance should have been a test for love, but for Liam, it seemed like an opportunity for him to run wild. And then, what was bound to happen, happened. I discovered Liam was cheating on me. Not once, but multiple times. That was truly the last straw. But instead of a tearful breakup and berating words over the phone, I wanted a different ending. I didn't want him to simply walk out of my life. I wanted him to be haunted. So, instead of screaming or questioning, I began a quiet but meticulous revenge plan. I spent months silently gathering evidence. Not a single trivial detail escaped my notice. I paid attention to the names of the girls Liam newly followed on social media, the locations he checked into on SnapMap. The fool had turned off his GPS location for me, but forgot Snapchat was still active. I researched the bars, the familiar hangouts around his university campus, and the mutual friends we had. I memorized every name, stored every piece of information, building a case file no different from a professional private investigator. I wanted to clearly understand the world he was living in, the world he had chosen to betray me in. My silence during that time made Liam completely unsuspecting. He still thought I was the naive girlfriend, easily fooled by clumsy lies. After I had enough information in hand, the most interesting part of the plan truly began. I created a fake Instagram account using the name and pictures of a good-looking, energetic male student from a popular fraternity at Liam's school. I carefully built a perfect cover for this account, with posts about student life, school events, and virtual friendships. Next, I used that very fake account to send messages to myself. The message content was drafted as if from some kind stranger, warning me about Liam's infidelity. Hi, I'm a student at the same school as Liam. I have some evidence that your boyfriend is cheating on you. Of course, the person behind all these messages was none other than me. The moment Liam accidentally saw that warning message on my phone, I had intentionally left it carelessly in a very natural way. He truly panicked. His usual confidence disappeared, replaced by confusion and fear. He immediately demanded that I block that Instagram account, not reply to any messages from strangers, and started throwing a tantrum for no reason. Throughout that process, I just remained silent, perfectly playing the role of a naive, hurt, and completely bewildered girlfriend in the face of what was happening. I let fear and guilt gnaw at Liam, but my charade didn't stop there. A few days later, I continued to use the fake Instagram account to send myself a longer, more detailed message, exposing all of Liam's behavior. In that message, I listed the name of the bar Liam frequented after school, the names of the girls he followed on social media and regularly interacted with. I even described specific locations on or near campus where this stranger had accidentally seen Liam with other girls. These were all pieces of information I had painstakingly collected, details that no stranger could randomly know. My purpose was very clear. I wanted Liam to believe that he was being watched by someone right in his own familiar environment. My psychological tactic worked perfectly. Liam truly believed someone was tracking his every move. He began to live in fear and paranoia. Every glance from a stranger, every unusual noise in the dormitory made him jump. He became irritable, suffered from insomnia, and his academic performance declined noticeably. The price of betrayal was now not just a simple breakup, but constant psychological torment. He was seriously freaking out. The panic reached its peak when Liam couldn't take it anymore. He confessed the entire cheating affair to me, not out of remorse, but out of fear that the stalker would expose everything. But what made me most gleeful was that Liam, in his extreme panic, reported to the campus police, insisting that someone was following and stalking him. He described the evidence the stalker had provided, which was precisely the information I had carefully arranged. Of course, the police found no clues whatsoever. There was no stalker at all, except for the ghost I had created in Liam's own mind. I broke up with Liam right after he confessed. A gentle breakup without a single harsh word of blame. Because the greatest punishment for him was not my words, but the persistent obsession that some hidden figure was always watching him and knew all his secrets. No one caught me. Nothing ever came of it. My plan was perfectly successful. I made Liam pay for his betrayal, not with violence or harsh words, but with the fear and paranoia he created himself. Under my direction. Many years have passed since that day. I have moved on, built a new life, happier and more peaceful. But the aftermath of the old story seemingly hasn't completely ended for Liam. Occasionally, he still tries to contact me, sending long messages full of empty apologies and belated regret. He rambles on about how his life was turned upside down after that stalking incident, about the psychological obsessions he has had to face. In those messages, not once does Liam mention the possibility that I could be the one behind it all. He still has absolutely no idea that the fraternity boy who exposed his true face was me the entire time. He still lives with the fear of a non-existent dormitory ghost, a perfect product of my revenge plan. I never reply to those messages. My silence is perhaps more terrifying than any accusation. I don't gloat over Liam's prolonged suffering, but I also don't regret what I did. He received the lesson he deserved, a lesson about respect and the consequences of betraying someone's trust. My story may not be a typical example of forgiveness or altruism, but it is proof that sometimes smart and calculated revenge can bring a personal justice more powerful than any direct confrontation. I chose to make him haunted, and I succeeded. That ghost will follow him for a long time as a reminder of indelible mistakes. And that, for me, is the most fulfilling end to a toxic and deceitful relationship. My life has turned a new page, a page no longer shadowed by Liam or the pain he caused,